We can speak now to Simon Kempton from the Police Federation, which represents rank and file officers. Thank you very much for coming in. I know actually that your force, Dorset, uses the niche system, which actually was just mentioned in the tweet that I read out. We've not been able to speak to anyone from niche to get their view on what's been said, but what's your experience been? You've had similar, have you?
I've spoken to colleagues, first of all, in Essex just this morning. And I have to say, I'm really gratified that the senior managers there are engaged with the problem, and I genuinely believe they're doing all that they can to solve the issue. But the frustration is, we could have avoided this by better testing, I think, at the beginning. So the Police Federation, with Policing Insight, a publication, we undertook a national survey of police officers, first one that's ever been done. And they told us of all these issues with lots of different systems, it's not just Athena. And what isn't happening is when these companies are coming to the procurement process, I believe the government and senior officers in the police should say, we're going to test it, we're going to get what we call the sign-off from the frontline officers, and if they say it's good, we'll buy your product. If they say it still needs some work, go away, do that work and then come back. That's not being done. So we could have been able to pick up these problems a long time ago before it started to impact on the service that we give to the public. And that's the frustration. And
the public will be thinking, it sounds like there are so many disparate systems out there. There are teething issues. We've heard from the Deputy Chief Constable of Essex saying that they are working to fix that. But in the meantime, when people hear that sometimes people aren't being prosecuted as a result of issues within a computer system, it'll make people question their faith in the whole system.
It's true, and there's fewer officers today than have been almost at any time during my life, and I'm not young. So the fewer officers we get, the more reliant we are on IT, and that's why it's so important that it works first time, every time. And these aren't the first time we've seen issues with either this system or other systems. And the real disappointment is we're having to push our officers further and further, and we heard on the video just before we spoke, officers are being pushed over the edge because of the stress that they get caught between trying to do as good a job as possible but having one arm tied behind their back by poor IT. They're having to replicate work, they're having to put the same data into different systems time and time again because they won't speak to each other. And these issues, actually, they should be relatively easy to overcome. So there's something called API. And API, it's computer speak, it's how different systems speak to each other. So if you think you put something on Instagram, and if you want to, you can post it automatically to Twitter or Facebook. The reason you can do that is the API on these systems allow each other to talk. Not all police systems do that.
OK, but hopefully it'll get better when that beds in.
I've been begging producers and software producers, open up your API, let our systems talk to each other, and then that will allow us to give a better service to the public.
OK, we're getting lots of comments on this. A couple more have come in. Foodie on Twitter. Along with crashing and being slow while trying to report a minor crime, my case was also assigned a police officer who'd gone on maternity leave. An anonymous text, a senior serving officer here. Athena crashes every day. It is designed for audit purposes and not frontline use. It's a poor system and no one will put their hands up and admit that it's flawed. And the 9 forces claim there are lots of benefits to Athena and say it is a stronger intelligence system, but admit they can see why officers are frustrated. In a statement, Northgate Public Services, which developed Athena, says, as with any major IT undertaking of this kind, some challenges have been encountered. Athena connects to and relies on many components of IT, which makes it a complex solution. We recognise there are a small number of areas of the solution where improvements can be made, and we apologise for any difficulties this has caused. Thank you very much, Simon Kempton.
Thanks, Joanna.